Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
A lot of crazy things that happened in the real estate market in the last couple of years. And I did a story very similar to this not so long ago. And when I saw this story, my first reaction was, is that the same story or is it different? But this one just happened the other day. And we're hearing more and more about this simply because of the economy. And what that is someone will find a piece of property or they'll find a builder and say, I want to build a house. They sign a contract to build a house, and the builder finishes the house and says, oh, because of the certain circumstances we're under right now, we've decided not to let you get this house. We're simply going to sell it ourselves because we make more money that way. And a lot of builders' contracts contain a clause that says they can do that. It's just that no one's ever heard of it happening that often before. And many people who sign the contracts don't catch that that's there. And so what they say they're doing is they're canceling for convenience, not your convenience, their convenience. And by convenience, they mean money. So Torrance and William both sent this from fox4news.com out of Texas. Scott Noviello wrote the story. Canceled for convenience. North Texas family loses home after builder backs out without warning. The family says they have a warning for anyone who's buying a home from a builder. Just days before closing on their home, their builder backed out. The builder's contract that they signed left them with virtually no protection. They were days away from moving into their forever home in Oakleaf, Texas. They had the movers booked. They'd bought a fridge. They were ready to go. 6 days before closing, 6 days before closing, after spending 16 months on the build, a text message changed everything. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we've decided to terminate the sales contract with you dated 12/15/2020. That's what the text said. The builder was backing out. A clause in the contract allowed the builder to cancel for convenience and simply sell the home on the open market. The new price was $300,000 more than these people had contracted to buy it for. And so think about this. If the value of the home plummets, they make you buy it. If it skyrockets, they cut you out of the picture and sell it. So they're basically shifting all of this risk onto you. Meanwhile, the couple and their 2 kids are about to be homeless. I'm still in disbelief even to this day. The couple is suing the company, which is the parent company for the builder. The lawsuit alleges the builder coerced them to sell their home under threat that the building project would not continue and in reliance that the builder would deliver the final building project. It was contingent based on us selling our previous home. In the seller's contract, the 2 agreed to sell their current home before the builder would sheetrock their new house. So a lot of people have this dilemma. They live in a house. They want to build a house or buy another house. And of course, that means there's 2 transactions, buying a house and selling a house. And there are people who get stuck where they bought a new house and haven't sold their old house yet. But here, they managed to sell their current home. And apparently that was part of the contract that the builder of the new home wouldn't proceed past a certain point because the builder would ostensibly be saying, I'm worried that unless you sell your home, how do I know you're going to move into this home? So in an email from the builder in September of 2021, the couple was reminded, you need to go ahead and start working on getting your house sold. There was a grace period where they could pay $2,000 a month in carrying costs to buy more time before moving into the new home. But it says that upper management will not be granting contingency extensions. So the buyers here said our previous home went under contract in less than a week, so that was not the issue. Their buyer gave the family a lease back so they could stay in the house past the date the builder said the new home would be done because that would allow them to work the transition out smoothly. Then that day came and the house is not even close to being done. So they moved into an Airbnb until their house would be done. Of course, that's an inconvenience, but they're okay to deal with that. They also even went ahead, for instance, and contracted a pool company who went out and surveyed the land and it showed what the pool would look like when it got installed. And then closing day came on April 15th, and it was supposed to be the home stretch, as we say. So the builders told the couple they need to move the closing date due to a delay. There was a delay on carpet, which caused them to reschedule closing to April 22, 1 week later. It's another hassle, but 16 months of moving, building, and so on. They thought, well, we'll deal with it. Then the text message, 6 days before the new closing date, the builder was canceling the sale. Escrow and upgrade money they had held for more than a year would be refunded. No reason, no nothing at all, the man says. Like, can you do this? So Fox 4 asked attorney Jason Friedman, who is not associated with the case, to review the sales contract. And he said, this is basically an agreement to hold you hostage. If you're signing a contract like this, yes, you could be homeless. So unlike a Texas Real Estate Commission promulgated sales contract, which offers protection for both parties, Friedman says the building contract here left them vulnerable. It's important to note the contract clearly reminds buyers they can seek independent legal advice before signing it, and this couple did not. I've had people call me in the past and say, Steve, I'm about to move into someplace. There's a contract I want you to review for me. And I don't do a whole lot of this anymore simply because I don't have time for it. But I've had people bring me contracts, and I've put them on the table and said, just so you know, everything here is pretty standard except for this one provision. If that one provision gets invoked, here's what could happen to you. And people look at me and they go, how often does that happen? And I say, that's not actually a job for an attorney to tell you, because I wouldn't know. I'm not sure anybody would know, unless you found like some industry insiders who keep track of this stuff. But the point is that clause is there, and the clause could be invoked by them, and if it is, you're in a lot of trouble. And I've seen it in situations involving properties. I've also seen it involving in situations with employment contracts. Fox 4 asked the builder to walk them through the terms of the contract, and they denied the interview request, saying it would be inappropriate. Instead, they pointed to the more than 160 homes they currently have under contract. They add, while cancellations are not what the company intends, their contract clearly addresses this possibility, which can be part of doing business. In this contract, I'd say there's no protection for the buyer, the attorney said. Section 10, termination of the contract, says, seller maintains the right to terminate this contract for convenience and without regard to fault or breach, meaning no extra notice, no reason at all. The seller can walk away and do what they want with that house. And by the way, it does say without regard to fault or breach, meaning that you don't have to do anything wrong to get this clause triggered. All it takes is them changing their mind. If they change their mind and go, oh, we changed our mind, we can make more money selling this on the open market. So the attorney said it's basically a get out of jail free card. The contract, meanwhile, limits damages paid to the buyer to $500. And the same contract also waives your right to a jury trial. And you're not allowed to hold up the claim regarding the title. And of course, if you do any of these things, you are in violation of the contract. So the attorney points out it's all right here. Some of it's in bold letters. They know every angle that you might come at them from, and they cut it off here. So the solution is you could try and negotiate the terms of a builder contract before you sign, or you could opt not to sign the contract at all and go with somebody else. So in this case, the couple here found themselves canceled for convenience. And there is a bit more to the story, including a lengthy statement from the builders talking about the unprecedented current market and so on. But it's a sad situation, and the clause is in the contract. And I've talked before about different kinds of contracts. Sales contract you sign at a car dealership. Sales contract you sign for an RV, heaven forbid. An employment contract. You're buying into a condominium association or homeowner association. The bylaws. And a lot of people ask themselves, well, what have I experienced? Have I ever heard of this before? And I had not heard of this happening prior to the stories I've done this year on it. And it's primarily because the market conditions are what's driving this. I suspect that before 2 years ago, This did not happen as often. But as you can imagine, if you contracted somebody in February of 2020, before COVID was a thing, and they spend a year and a half building a house, we know that what market prices have done in the real estate market, right? Prices have skyrocketed. Different parts of the country, it's different amounts, but the point is that prices have gone up. So if you contracted back here for this price to build a house that's now worth this much, and the builder has the option of cutting you out of the deal, guess what's going to happen to you? So I suspect this has happened a lot more than we've heard about. It's just not everyone goes to the TV station and complains, and not everyone who goes to the TV station and complains gets on television either. But this is a wild story, and the lesson to learn here is if you're going to sign a contract to build something, especially for hundreds of thousands of dollars, you should read the contract carefully, look for clauses like this, and if necessary, hire an attorney. Pay him a couple $100 to review it with you. And the attorney's going to tell you what I just told you. They're going to go through and say, all of this is standard stuff, except for this clause right here, which might be standard, by the way. But understand what that clause can do. And that clause can come back to haunt you in a really, really ugly fashion. Because remember, it says that they can just cancel for no reason. It doesn't say how they cancel, timing of how they cancel. And most contracts that are written carefully will often have, if somebody has the right to do something, all kinds of rules regarding notification, saying that if you want to do this, you got to do it in this time frame and notify us in a certain way and take all these certain steps. And then, by the way, you're still going to owe us money for the inconvenience you put us through. And yet they can call you up and say, your closing is set for the 15th. We got to push it back to 22nd. You okay with that? Okay. On the 16th, they call you and go, oh, we're canceling the deal. Yesterday, you told us we were closing in a week. Yeah, we're canceling the deal. Turns out they can do that. That's the crazy part. So some people are going to ask, Steve, what if this contract is considered unconscionable or so lopsided that a court could step in and say, that's not fair, the way this happened? Possibly. That's the only possibility here, I think. However, most judges are going to read this and go, you signed it. The contract's pretty clear. And it's not like they had a gun to your head. And you know, how many builders are out there? You could have hired any one of them. Not all of them have this contract yet. But a lot of them are adopting it right about now. So great story. Torrance and William both sent it. Fox4News.com. Published it. Steve Noviello wrote it. Canceled for convenience. North Texas family loses home after builder backs out without warning. About a week before closing. Questions or comments? Put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. I do most of my work sitting down. That's where I shine.